Go. Welcome back to Championship 365. It's the big debate, and this week I'm not involved, so I'm going to sit here and stir the pot, try and get these. I'm going to be like Charlie Austin to Flynn Downs here. I'm just going to wind everybody up and hope the yellow cards come out. What we are going to debate this week, guys, is which team you would like to see return to the Championship next season. That could be through a relegation from the Premier League, obviously 4 adrift, but could have an Everton, you could have a Leeds included in your argument, or could be one of the 3 teams to come up from League One. So you're either going to be coming from a very disrespectful angle and saying you want a team to be relegated, or you're going to be coming from a very positive angle and saying you want a team promoted. As ever, the reasoning can be whatever you want, and we will put it to the public vote. So I will stir the pot, but I will not make the ultimate decision. Right, we're going to go round, first of all, and just hear which team you've selected, and then we will get your arguments, and then we can, just let the fighting begin. Justin Peach, who would you like to see return to the Championship next season?
I guess I've gone with the easy one, but I've gone with Newcastle United. There's many a reason as to why, but there's a good debate to be had about Newcastle. Cash money too, always good. Newcastle
United. Ryan Dilks?
I would like to see Wigan Athletic back in the Championship.
Wigan Athletic. And Ben HD?
I'm going to be arguing for Burnley coming back down to the Championship.
Just remind us which team you support, Ben.
I am a Preston fan, but I don't need to come into this.
Doesn't need to, but it's going to, isn't it? Let's start with Justin then, and the richest club in the history of football, Newcastle United. They have been a bit dominant the last 2 times they've been in the Championship, haven't they? But you'd like to see them back. Why?
Many a reason why. Can you imagine Luton Town going away to a cash-rich Newcastle United and beating them 1-0 at St James's Park, and just the carnage it would cause?
That was a whole £5.
That's a very good distraction. Just the carnage and the scalps teams would take in the Championship if they beat Newcastle. The obvious comparisons of the money side of things as well. And also, is there a better sight than seeing topless Geordies in your away end? Slightly heavy topless Geordies dancing around in the dead of winter. There isn't a better sight, I think, in football, really. You know, there's all these videos of kids going to their first game, emerging from the concourse, looking, mesmerised by the turf and the stand. But no, the happier sight for me is topless Geordies dancing around in an away end. And as well as that, after Christmas, very important. We all overindulge. You've got the Boxing Day game at St James's Park. Is there a better way to kickstart a health kick than going to the top of that away stand? I don't think there is. I've gone a bit left field with my argument here, but for those 3 reasons: the scalp, the topless Geordies, and the health aspect of going into that away end, I've got to see Newcastle back in the Championship.
There it is. Newcastle United back for some interesting reasons from Justin Peach. Let's go to Ben HD and see how disrespectful he's going to be to poor old Burnley here.
Well, I'm going to try and put a bit of a positive slant on this one and say that the reason I want Burnley to be relegated is because I like the idea of having a little bit of like a Northwest Super League going on within the Championship. We've already got a few of the clubs in there at the moment. We've got Blackburn, Preston, Blackpool. There's the chance, and obviously we're going to hear this argument, that Wigan might be going up this year as well. And then the fact that Burnley are going to come down. I think I remember having a similar season when there were quite a few sort of Lancashire clubs in the Championship around 14-15, but we've not really had it since then. But listen, the argument for Burnley coming back down, it's a great derby game, not just with some of the other clubs I've mentioned there, but Blackburn up against Burnley is a great match that I'm sure everyone will be tuned into. Will ruin my argument slightly if Blackburn go on and get promoted, but having that bit of spite back in the Championship, which I do think comes with Burnley, and especially in some of those grudge matches as well. I'd also argue for the case of Burnley that if they come down, I think they'd have a few issues to sort out I don't think it would be a case of them completely blitzing the Championship, which would be a little bit boring and something that I'm always a little bit cautious of teams coming down from the Premier League. So for those reasons, for having those derbies back, I am also speaking as a biased Preston fan who would quite like to play them again, and hasn't been the most fond of Burnley, let's say, over the years. I just think it would be great to have them back in the Championship. I think it would be quite an interesting one there.
Sensational. I've just realised no one's picked Ipswich, which is very, very disappointing. But Ryan, you have picked a League One side in Wigan Athletic, who are flying high under Liam Richardson.
Yeah, and I wasn't expecting that this season, I've got to say, because I thought after how the last season went for them, I thought they'd be lingering around in League One for quite some time. But if they get back into the Championship, it would be the ultimate redemption story, wouldn't it? After they got relegated a couple of seasons ago now, after the whole administration thing, which I think a lot of fingers were pointed towards the EFL and how they let these new owners take over the club and then they go into administration not long afterwards. It would just be fantastic to see fans back in the Championship after what was a torrid couple of seasons ago, when also, I think Justin Peach will even say this, they were one of the best teams in the division in the second half of the season. And if they carried that form across the whole season...
More points, Ryan.
Exactly. They'd have been... If they had started that run of form earlier, then they probably would have had a decent shot again to the playoffs if it wasn't for the points deduction as well. So I'd like to see them back in the Championship. They've done brilliant things in the past 15, 20 years of being a club in terms of what they did in the Premier League, winning the FA Cup and what have you. I think they're a side that deserves to be back in the Championship after getting, pardon my French, but screwed over in the last time they were in the Championship.
There we go. So those are the arguments from Justin for the return of Newcastle, from Ben for the return of Burnley, and from Ryan for the return of Wigan Athletic. Justin, this is now your opportunity. Forget about Newcastle. You need to besmirch the honour and debunk the argument. You may want to focus on Ben HD's sheer selfishness in wanting to not travel for an away game at any point in the season. Or you may want to focus on the heavy investment in salary in that Wigan squad this season. And yes, as much as it is in the Northwest, it's quite difficult to get to, isn't it, getting up to Wigan? So fire away, Justin.
Yeah, look, the Sandbach Junction is an absolute nightmare. Adds an extra hour onto every journey up into the Northwest. So... yeah, it's not an easy place to get to at all. It's very hard to find an argument against Burnley because I'm so anti-Burnley and anti-Sean Dyche.
Don't do his bidding for him.
I know, but seeing him drop into the Championship, I'm thinking, actually, yeah, that would be a nice sort of come-around story as to why Sean Dyche is not as highly rated as he should be. Sorry, no, he's higher rated than he should be. But at the same time, going into that way end, I don't know if they've changed the seats or not. I hope they have after years in the Premier League, but the last time I went, they were wet, the seats were wooden, and it was just an uncomfortable experience. That was in 2006. Now, as I say, I hope that they have changed the away stand, but going back there just, brings shudders to my spine. I don't like it at all. So them staying in the Premier League, actually, yeah, please do. But at the same time, Sean Dyche coming down and seeing his face, that'd be great. As for Wigan, Ryan's gone for the sob story here. He's gone for the
it's the emotion. It's clever, isn't it? It's clever.
And I'm not too sure I like that. It's sort of backhand tactics here. I've gone for sort of the happy Geordies in the happy half naked Geordies. They're not
going to be happy if they've been relegated, are they?
They're always happy. It's crazy time, yeah. Yeah, so I think I've got to question Ryan's sort of angle here and whether or not he would actually like to see Wigan in the Championship or he's just angling for the points. That's what it feels like. He's gone a bit Mourinho with it. And Mourinho lost a lot of respect after digging out his players and what have you. So, yeah, I've got to question Ryan here. I'm not too sure he's as sincere as he is coming across.
Let's go on to Ben HD. I will fully encourage you to continue besmirching Ryan's honour and maybe underhanded tactics in this debate. Also, Ben, it's going to be boring if Newcastle come down. They're going to get 120 points, aren't they?
Well, yeah, that was sort of going to be my argument for this one. It would be a little bit of fun for the first few weeks, really, I think, if Newcastle were to come down. It's a nice away day and things like that. But ultimately, we're probably going to see a league which is even more one-sided than it's been this season with Fulham blazing things at the top. They be pretty much guaranteed to get over 100 points with all the investment that they put into that squad over the window. We've already seen them blitz the league twice in the past decade or so. So I think it would be another case of that. I don't think we're going to get the same with Burnley. I think it would be a little bit different if they were to come down. You know, Sean Dyche made a part with that. They need to have a bit of a rebuild and sort things out for themselves. In terms of Wigan, I do agree a lot with what Justin said there, you know, trying to take it a bit down the sort of emotive angle of the rebuild of Wigan after everything that has happened for them. But they see a lot's gone into that squad. I don't quite think it's as romantic of a story as it could have been. I'm looking at some of the other teams in and around the top of League One. I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe I prefer to get them in there. It is another Northwest club coming up, though, which I can't be all too much against. Ipswich point in there, get that one in there.
It's a great shout.
Point.
It's a great shout, Ben. I don't know where it comes to you, but it's an excellent shout. Yeah.
No, yeah, I was thinking the same. But in terms of Wigan, I may sound a bit harsh here, but I think if I had to do sort of a tier list of all the sort of Northwest away days, I'd probably put Wigan at the bottom, you know. I don't think it's got as much going for it as the other ones. I'm looking at the others in the Championship. Burnley, I think I prefer a trip to Bolton, to be honest with you. So I'll leave it on that one. But yeah, it's still Burnley for me, I'm afraid.
Well, Ryan, you might not even need to talk about Newcastle, because I think the boys have been very, very unfair on you with their criticisms. They're very, very mean-spirited. Would you like to come back against Newcastle and Burnley as arguments here, two Premier League teams?
Well, first of all, Ben, I'd like to address the questioning of my honour in wanting Wigan to actually come back up.
Very underhanded tactics from those two, isn't it?
So underhanded. I have spent many a night crying over the injustice against Paul Cook and his side being relegated all those years ago, and how it's taken so long for them to get back to where they deserve. And also, Ben HD talking about things to do in Wigan. There's loads to do. I've just gone on TripAdvisor. You can go to Wigan Roller Rink and
I'm not having it.
Worthington Lakes, the Wigan Little Theatre, the Museum of Wigan Life. I don't see an issue here with things to do in Wigan. It sounds like a great weekend away, doesn't it? In terms of the other two, I think Newcastle, well, I'm all about that money and getting extra listeners to the podcast. That's what I'm about. It would be so dull with Newcastle back in the Championship, because they would win the league, wouldn't they? I don't know what the bookies' odds would be, but they'd be odds against, wouldn't they, for them to win the league? It would just be pointless. And after about 10 weeks, we'd have nothing to talk about with them apart from going, God, they've got a load of money, haven't they? With Burnley as well, if Newcastle weren't in the Championship next season and Burnley came down, I still think Burnley would win the Championship relatively easily, personally, because we've seen over the past few years teams from the Premier League get relegated, go straight back up, and Burnley have got some good solid players in there. You've got the likes of Tarkowski and me, for example, who I think would still be at Burnley next season if they did get relegated. So I think they'd absolutely smash the league as well. So it would just be boring if either of those two came down. Let Wigan back into the Championship. Let a side rebuild from where they left off, and let them have another crack at being in the second tier.
Beautiful stuff. Well, we will let you guys decide. As usual, spirited. My favourite bit is when it gets a little bit murky and needly there, which is always good fun. So, are you team Justin Peach in that you would prefer to see Newcastle returning to the Championship? Are you team Ben HD, who would most prefer to see Burnley return to the Championship? Or are you team Dilks? Would you like to see Wigan Athletic complete their, quote, redemption story and return back up to the second tier? Get involved. Please don't get too emotional over this. It's just a little bit of fun. And let us know your thoughts down there in the comments. Thank you, boys. And we will see you next week for no doubt another informative and highly intellectual debate.